Welcome back to Brian's Budget Bonsai. This is part 2 of the Ficus Frenzy. She didn't get to all those ficuses for a couple days now. I've just been procrastinating or doing something along that lines. But we're going to see if we can knock out a few more of these things. There's probably going to be a part 3 because I keep finding more ficus. It's like I didn't know I had this many. Got a problem. We all do, don't we? All right, so let's get down to business here with this little ficus here. This is one I'm probably just going to do a quick little trimming here and branch selection. So hopefully we can get through these fast. I picked out about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get through. First 6 are kind of small. The 7th one's a monster. So hopefully we can get through these things pretty quick. And removing some of those yellowing leaves. A few of these leaves are a little bit sunburnt, but I don't want that branch anyway. Yeah, sometimes when you get to the point you have so many of them, you can have kind of like a, I don't know, it's like there's so much to do that you don't want to start because you know you can't finish, but then nothing ever gets done. So that can be a problem when you've decided to get so many trees to take care of. But you know, if you don't take care of them, they're not going to survive, or at least they're going to get out of control. So sometimes it's better to do a little bit at a time. And that's what I decided to do here with this. I was letting myself to get a little overwhelmed with the idea of doing all of these trees and feeling as though I did have to do them all at once. So sometimes the best thing to do is break it down into smaller tasks and just take care of those one at a time. There's an old joke that I'm fond of saying to my my patients when they feel like there's an insurmountable task in front of them. I tell them, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer to the joke is 1 bite at a time. So when you have an elephant of a worth of ficuses in front of you to prune, sometimes you just got to take 1 bite at a time, or 1 tree at a time. So that's the first one, just a quick little haircut in a simple little bonsai bowl. This is actually had a fake bonsai in it at Goodwill, and I actually broke the pot trying to get the glued in fake bonsai out of it. And but a little super glue works pretty good. Epoxy works good too. And if you want super glue to set up faster, you can use a combination of super glue with baking soda. Baking soda is an accelerant for the setting of super glue. So if you got the super glue won't set because it takes so long, you can sprinkle a little bit of baking soda on it. Matter of fact, keep a little bit of it right here for when I have to glue things together and I not patient enough. All right, that's tree number 1 done. We're moving on. Okay, this one is a little bit more sad and pathetic. This is a recent like potting up of a clipping, and you can see it's still kind of loose inside here. It might be a little over potted. In other words, too big of a pot for this tree. A lot of times we underpot things. There's some dead branches here. I'm gonna clip this down and maybe just remove some of the weight at the top. It might be pulling on this tree. Fairly straight trunk. Not much to talk about here. I'm just gonna maybe push the rock up against here a little bit more. See if I can just keep it a little more stable in the pot so it grows roots a little bit better. Yeah, this one is not the star of the show, is it? So, but we never know. It may pick it up. All right, that's number 2 down. All right, number 3. And that's a little bit more reasonable sized pot for this tree. It's solidly in there. It's getting a nice, I don't need the stones in there like when I originally had, but it's getting a nice little radial base. It hasn't gotten too bulbous yet. And it is starting to grow out of the bottom there, so we know this is pretty full. Again, recently repotted into here, I think at the end of last year. So, oh, there's spider web. See, right there. Got myself a little spider web. So, again, not going to be poking my fingers around in there, just in case we have one of the nasty ones in there. All right, so let's give this a little bit of a haircut. See if we need to select any branches. Again, we're cutting back to 2s, cutting back to 2s. That's 1, 2. Sometimes there's one hiding way at the back. I'll get rid of this big leaf. Sometimes what happens, like if you get leaves that grow in the wintertime, when it's under artificial lighting, you get big leaves. But then in the summertime, when the sun is more abundant and brighter, and they don't have to have as big leaves to get the same amount of photosynthesis, they will produce smaller leaves. And smaller leaves give the impression of a larger, of it being a older tree, a larger tree, just in miniature. So it scales down a little bit better. Let's see, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. And we might do some branch selection. It's looking a little congested in here. We may decide that we don't need as many of these. I wanted to get a little pruning done here, and just to get a good idea of what's in there. It's hard to see everything in there when you have all those leaves. That's why sometimes you do the defoliations. But like right here, there's a whole bunch of branches in this one area, in this one direction. They're kind of all clogging each other. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if you see where I'm talking about here, you got, in terms of branches, you got one, that's actually a side branch off of that one. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in a row there. So we're going to thin this out a little bit. I'm going to take off this one here, emptying out that more space in there, as well as taking that smaller branch, redirecting it in this direction. And again, that now leaves us 3 here. We got one that's very horizontal, one that's on a 45-degree angle, one that's vertical. I think for this one, I'm going to take this one that's pretty vertical off, with the idea that we're going to have one branch in this direction and one branch in this direction, and that's going to be forming a little more of the apex, kind of redirecting it in that direction, and this is going to become a branch. So again, still a little early for deciding what front you're going to be, but if you look at it from this angle, you kind of got the same scenario where you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 branches, boom, 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 right in a row. And we're not going to need all of them. I don't think we want all of them. I can see that this one is actually growing right off at the base of this branch. And I like this branch, but we don't need a branch at its base. So we're going to cut that one off there. So we want kind of like almost like a staggered branch setup. So it'd be, you know, right, left, like that as you going up there. Or maybe right, left, back, that type of order, right? You know, so right now you've got these two branches being almost, that little guy right there and the guy being almost bar branches. So we're gonna get rid of the more minor branch there. This one and this one are very close together on the same level. So we're gonna get rid of that one, open up that space. And again, if I had a choice between these two branches that are coming off at the same point right here, you can see that. No, you can't. All right, right there. Got this branch and this branch are kind of coming off at the same level. So it's decided which one do I want to keep. I'm thinking keeping this one here and getting rid of that one. Take a pruning stub. All right. It's just a leaf petiole. And one of those larger leaves. Okay, so might still have a situation here. We've got a ladder step, but we just still do have a little bit of a stair. Like this one. Maybe I should have kept that one over in that direction. Oh well, what do you know? Sometimes you regret your decisions, and sometimes you say, well, it'll just grow more branches. Sometimes you just gotta leave it up to the tree to fix your mistakes. And that just takes time and patience. All right. This is one of my favorite little bonsais, trees. The clipping that's rooted out, it's getting a little bulbous at the bottom, but I love the fact that I've managed to make this grow in this tiny little shallow pot in all this heat and sunshine that we have here. And it's not doing too bad. It looks like, I think at one point I may have put some wire on it to get a little motion in the trunk. There's a very, maybe a slight residual wire scar there. It's almost gone. Again, this one's probably just going to be removing some growing tips. It's not really growing aggressively. There's a couple places where I could cut back to just the two leaves, or just remove a growing tip if there's not a lot of growth on it. We just want it to start deciding to branch outward. Go a little further on that one, maybe there. If you can, pick a leaf that's facing outwards so that you have the next branch growing to the outside of the tree, rather than towards the center. Sometimes it'll do that. Like right here. I got one right here, I got one here. That should shoot a branch in this direction. But it might not. It might decide to go somewhere else. So we'll have to see what the tree does for us. I had heard somewhere, I don't remember who said that, but bonsai is unique in the art forms where the artist can remove material, the artist can move material, like in wiring, but the artist cannot add material for the most part, unless you're talking about like grafting or something like that. Well, technically, yeah, you're adding material, but you still need to let the tree do its job. So that it's kind of one of those things where you have to, at some point, let the tree do its job. You can encourage it to do what you want it to do, but sometimes it's gonna do its own thing. let's see, I'm trying to decide, do I want all these branches? Getting rid of a few more old pruning stubs. That just neatens the tree up a little bit. It's almost non-existent, that one. Got a little one there. Okay. I think we're going to leave that as is. He says as he clicks one more time. I think I got them all. All right. I think that was tree number 3. Moving on. Take it back. That was tree number 4. This is tree number 5. And again, just a little cutting put in there. This has got a unique feature where it has this one root that kind of comes up and around and goes down over here. So that is kind of unique. Some may call it a flaw, some may call it a feature. I guess as in most things with art, it is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, I think it's not really growing out of its pot yet, so I don't think it's time for a repot on this. Again, just going to have a little bit of taming of these wild branches here so we can get some ramification a little further back on these branches. Cutting back to 2s. Maybe cutting back some of these big oversized leaves that were from the winter growth. Looking for any pruning stubs from last year. Not seeing a lot. Tiny little spider web in there. Doesn't look, that one doesn't look too threatening. Okay, maybe cut this back a little more. That back at the base of that. Okay, that was pretty simple. Again, nice little small pot, fits inside of the hand. Again, over the years, this trunk will continue to thicken and these branches will become more ramified. So it might be another year or 2 in this smaller pot, and then it'll be up, maybe it'll be up potted or just root pruned and put back into a pot this size. But that's a good one. And again, nice little curly root on here, like a handle. All right, so that is tree number 5. Okay, tree number 6 is the bathtub bonsai. This one's got itself a big old flat base on here, and it's in just a little metal clawfoot bathtub on this. Had some drainage holes in it there when I got it. Again, don't need these stones anymore to hold it in place. It looks like it's trying to have a few escape roots. Nothing coming out of the bottom yet. But again, it's one of those things where you can get it to grow in a relatively small pot, as long as you keep it watered. I think these are liking the shade cloth, even though these smaller ones, I think, and they have such limited amount of roots, between the irrigation, kind of keeping them moist, keeping the area humid, and keeping them from having that blistering sun where you are just getting, there's some things that, like, if I don't water them every day, when I come back from work, if I haven't watered them in the morning, they're wilting. So it does kind of, I'll take this off, keep those branches low, put that one down. So little thing like this could easily get completely dried out in one day and dead before you know it, if it isn't kept watered, and needs the sunshine, but this stuff is just so intense in the south here. You can burn a tree in a day, and then all your hard work is gone. It's kind of like the same idea with these tropicals with a frost. If you put them out a little early, or don't take them in as soon, and you get that one last frost in the spring, you thought it was safe. Yeah, all it takes is one cold night to kill them. Or in the summer, all it takes is one really hot day with no water, and there it goes, all your hard work. So you do have to be diligent. That was one of the reasons why I came up with the sprinkling system for the shade tent this year. I knew I was going to have a long vacation in July, which is probably the worst time to abandon your bonsais, with the exception of August. Yeah, forgot where I was going with that idea. But you might notice that I do that a lot. My thoughts wander off as I ponder the life lessons that bonsai teaches us. All right. Enough philosophy. We're moving on to the last tree, and it's a big boy. All right, this is another one of our ones that are welcome to the jungle ones. This is, give a little rotation here. This, just in a simple plastic training pot. These are nice to pick up, by the way. If you are, again, trying to get your bonsai stuff created, you can get a whole bunch of these plastic training pots of various sizes. They will suffice in a training situation. You know, you just want something that's not just a, maybe you don't want to be going to Goodwill all the time and drilling holes in ceramic pots. And you don't want to invest in the high-priced bonsai pots that you're afraid to use because you're afraid you might break them. I have one of those. Very nice pot. I might show it to you after we cut through this. But yeah, these work really well, and they are reusable, and they do come with little trays, and they have some built-in screening at the bottom here. So these are not bad to pick up. You can buy them online. We all know where we can go. I won't give them any more free advertising. They got enough market share, but yeah, if you can find a non-mega corporation to buy it from, by all means. So always support a small business when you can. And by comparison, almost every other business is small by the comparison of some of these places here. So you know what? I was saying I was going to try a profile prune on one of these here. This might be one of the ones to bring out the shears. All right, so again, this may try to go with kind of like a little rounded canopy on this. So we're going to just, oh, maybe not. All right, that's the big boy. We're going to have to use a little bit more of an attitude adjuster on this one. There we go. Okay, so those two needed attitude adjustment. All right, so So, down and dirty. Got it down, cut down to the basic shape. Now we just go in and try to find things that are not growing in the direction that we want them. Anything that's a crossing branch. Now, right there, we might have an issue here. Got this branch right here is the leader naturally coming up. Now here's my pointing stick. Where did I put my pointing stick? There we go. This comes up from here, crosses over to here. So this is kind of a natural leader, but it crosses over towards the center and kind of interferes with this other branch here. So the question is, which one do we want to keep? Well, maybe that depends on where we want the front to be. If we look around here, we might see that this is not a bad front right there. Let me show you that. It's got a nice curvature there. It's got some roots coming off of there. These branches might go, because they're kind of low. But in which case you got your natural leaders coming off in this direction, which case this branch might be the one that has to go, and then we could keep that one. But yeah, we might need to cut back that one too if we're going to make this the leader. We don't want this one taking over from behind. So let's see, we're going to use these pruners here and maybe kind of come in, and I'm going to actually take off that branch there and maybe this one here, and then we're going to keep burying my tools, or I'm just putting them in somewhere else and forgot that I put them there. All right, so we're going to cut this down to maybe about here. And this one, last leaf here, hopefully I shoot a branch there. This one's last leaf, shoot a branch there. Again, outward facing. Let's see, let's see, that one's at the base, so this one's kind of the first branch, second branch, first leaf, second leaf though is going back towards the center. So if we keep this as the third branch, we can actually have it go in this direction, or even if we want to keep this as the fourth branch. I know that cut that leaf off a little bit when I was shearing, but that might shoot that in this direction. So I'm going to keep those there. Again, that might end up being a branch. This might be the leader. I'm going to cut that off there. Get a little bit more space in there. Again, I'm going to remove some of these smaller branches down here to get a better view of the trunk, not have it obscured. And let's see, which do we want our first branch to be? Again, this could have a good, decent front from this direction too. Let me move that leaf there. See, again, we still got some movement, and we've got this part here that can become a leader as well. So right now, this might have two fronts, where the tree is kind of going up in the middle there. I'll clean out some of this stuff in the center here, allowing light into there, across those little crossy branches here, cleaning up that whole area between those two. Might redirect that. 1 in that direction. going to redirect that branch, cut that one away from its base, and just kind of cleaning up this area here. Yeah, kind of like, looks like a little, again, this might have some spiders in a little spider egg sac there. So I don't have too much trouble with, had some trouble with spider mites on my ficus, on my junipers, but I haven't had too much trouble with scale. I hear a lot of people mentioning how much trouble they've had with scale insects. And I don't know if I'm just not looking real close, but I haven't seen any yet. Got some problems with aphids, especially in the winter time when they're inside. Someone always manages to bring the aphids to the indoor winter party. Alrighty, so we tamed the beast a bit. Don't think it's ready for repotting yet. We've got just some roots that are just starting. Again, I think they like the humid environment that I've created for them. I'm having a lot more surface roots, escape roots, and occasionally even aerial roots with this new technique. So, not having any grow out the bottom yet. So I still think that there's plenty of room for this tree to grow in this pot without being repotted yet. So no repots this session, but next session on episode 3, stay tuned for episode 3. There's definitely one that I'm planning on repotting, and it's going to go into a bowl that I have already kind of picked out for it. It's the mother plant for all of these ficus. This is the bowl I was going to put it into, the pot is going to put it into. I actually spent $22 on this at a antique store. It's a nice looking pot for bonsai, but it has no holes. So we're going to have to make this a little holey with my diamond bit circular drill bits. And then we're going to repot the mother plant for all of these, and I think episode number 3, or it might even have its own episode. We'll have to see, keep you all in suspense. Alrighty, so a little preview what's going to happen next. All right, so that's all for tonight. All right, before I go, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. I did say I was going to show you the expensive pot that I bought that I'm currently too afraid to use, because it's like, okay, well, if you're going to have a pot like that, you got to put something special in it. So I haven't found anything special enough yet. So this right here is the pot that I bought at the Charlotte area's winter silhouette bonsai show. It was the first time I really had gone to one of these shows, and I picked this up. I don't even remember how much I paid for it, but it was this is the most expensive pot I own right now, and I really saw it, and I thought to myself, this is a great pot. I love it. It looks like old wood on the outside. It's got a great glaze pattern on it. It's got a nice big drainage hole. I've already put screening in there already, and I still am too chicken to put anything in it. This was made by a I don't know if this is going to be backwards for you guys, but this is the name of the guy that made this pot. I bought it from him, and Preston Tolbert, Tolbert Ceramics, and yeah, beautiful pot. Tolbert, love the pot, but I just gotta be so chicken and actually commit to putting something in it. If you all out there, this is a great thing for me to get some advice from all you guys and anybody who are experts on there. what type of tree would you put in here? Would you put in a conifer, a deciduous? You know, what could you imagine a tree would go in there that would complement that pot? As he's dangling on his fingertips and realizing he better not drop the dang thing. Alrighty, so that was a little add-on to that, but again, once again, be cool and happy bonsai.